Hi guys, welcome to my channel and to my journey in beauty. Today we are going to be multitasking the Jaclyn Hill palette. Disclaimer at the beginning of this video, I'm talking funny, I have a dental issue, it will get taken care of soon, but it is making my tongue rather sore, so if I sound weirder than usual, that's why. So, some of you may know if you watched my video called Help Me Pick My Pan That Palette for 2019. I will link it for you in case you missed it, but I did say as part of the process of picking my Pan That palette, I was going to spend 1 week with the Jaclyn Hill Morphe palette and 1 week with the Lorac Mega Pro palette. And so this is day 6 for me of using the Jaclyn Hill Morphe palette. I'm not going to give away any of my experiences with this palette yet or how I'm feeling about it necessarily, but I did think it would be a fun little venture to multitask this Jaclyn Hill palette. I just like to do stuff like this. Maybe it's weird, maybe you don't do that with your makeup, but at the very least, I hope you will enjoy this video, and let's go ahead and jump right in. So, I did swatch out the bronzer I've been using lately because I'm panning it is Hoola by Benefit, and this is it right here. This is the shade that I've been using a lot this week in the transition, and it's called MFEO, or Made for Each Other. And I think that these are probably the closest in terms of bronzer that might work for my skin tone. So I've got my little crown brush here. I'm gonna go into this shade right here called MFEO and attempt to bronze up the skin. I hope you will forgive my rather casual appearance. It is Sunday for me, and I like to keep it super cash, super laid back, wear my favorite comfy clothes that maybe I wouldn't normally wear out of the house, and, you know, just be comfy. So if anything, this might be the best day of the week to do makeup that might turn out bozo because I'm not going anywhere. So actually I think that bronzed up the face rather nicely. The lights tend to blow it out a little bit, and the sun can't decide what it wants to do out there, so we're just gonna go with it. I hope you guys all had a nice Halloween. We certainly did. It originally kind of sounded like it might be very, very chilly and even possibly wet here for Halloween, but the wetness came the day before Halloween and was sufficiently dried up by the day of Halloween, and so it actually was really enjoyable. And it was chilly, but not like miserably chilly. Love how my daughter's kitty costume came out. She was very low-key this year about her costume, and as a mom who generally makes the costumes, I actually really appreciated it. It made the holiday just seem so much more relaxing. I'll do in a pinch. It wasn't too hard to get into the pan because the pans are rather large. So there's that. For blush, this was probably the hardest decision to make, but I think with not a lot of confidence that we're gonna go into this very persimmon shade of orange right here called Hunts. Apparently I'm gonna have to really get used to or figure out these names next year if I pan this palette. So I'm going in with a very fluffy brush. Gonna like tap it off the best I can, maybe even dab it on the back of my hand a little bit here, and go in for hopefully what will not be a bozo blush look. Oh boy, I do love this. Oh, look at that. I'm I'm kind of impressed. I think we probably have enough there. It's always hard to tell. I'm gonna bring it up here on my temple just a little bit. I think that gives a nice little, it's not really blush draping. If I went harder with it, it might be, but okay. I have rather orange looking cheeks here, but I don't think we did that bad. I do think dabbing it off on the back of my hand has helped a little bit. I highly recommend it. And just in general, I feel like when I'm working with a scary blush, as in a blush that I might go crazy with real quickly, this is the brush I use. I use a nice fluffy brush. Basically, you don't want a dense brush, and the fluffier and the, you know, more flexible, the better when working with scary blushes. This is gonna be an editing nightmare. I actually do like how that's turned out. And then for highlighter, I wanted to try something different because generally I would go in with one of these two lightest shades, and I have multitasked the palette like that before, but then yeah, I think that's gonna work nicely. Because I'm going with an orange blush, this shade right up here called Little Lady is actually more of a peachy shade. Man, the lighting is horrible today. It's more of a peachy shade, and so I'm gonna try and go in with that. So here we go. That was scary. It just picks up a ton of product when you are using eyeshadows, or at least these shadows. You'll notice that there's kind of a theme here. So far, we're looking a little warm, and you'll see why in just a few minutes here. I'm gonna try and buff it into the skin a little more now that we have it generally applied. Pretty. Ugh. My hair is doing a thing today. I wish it would behave. All right. We'll see how this does in the rest of the face. Hopefully it's not too dark. Oh no. I love a peachy highlighter, so that's definitely, this is the first shade that came to my mind when thinking of using something different for a highlighter versus the, you know, highlight shades in the palette. So this is kind of fun. Oh my, that is beautiful. Okay, let's get into the eyes. I actually really love how the face turned out. I don't think, you know, we had any patchiness or anything like that. So for the first shade, I'm gonna go into this one right here, which is Silk Cream. One thing that I have discovered this week in using this palette so much is that this palette does perform better, in my opinion, and the mattes blend better if you set your base. So I've talked about a little bit of color theory before, and I do plan to have more of that on my channel in the new year. A series is coming. So anyways, on the color wheel, blue and orange are right across from each other. So as I've spoken about before, this is my color wheel that I have when I'm painting. So here's blue and here is orange. And so because these are directly across from each other on the color wheel, they are considered complementary colors, meaning that they pair well together. Me personally, I wouldn't necessarily think to use blue and orange together, but that is the method to my madness in using an orange blush, because I want to do a blue teal eye look today. So enough of that. I'm going to go into the crease with the same shade that I used for my bronzer, which is that Pooter shade. which is almost as bad as the shade next to it, which is called Pukey. I don't think we necessarily need to be literal with the shade names of things. Like if it looks like puke, I don't think we necessarily have to call it puke, if that makes sense, but that's just me. I don't have an eyeshadow palette, so I don't get to pick the names. So I'm very, very thankful to all of you who commented on my November no-buy video, as well as the other video. I believe it was my palette bingo, where I originally talked about doing a no-buy. And I'm just very, very thankful to all of you that commented and said that you absolutely would continue watching my channel if I went on a year-long no-buy next year. Like I had said in the original video, not that I wouldn't do it anyways. If you guys said, no, we're not interested. I think ultimately, if I decide it's the best choice for me, then I have to stand behind that. So I didn't mean that question in any way to be like wishy-washy, like should I do it, should I not do it, that kind of thing. I was just curious how many of you are interested in that kind of content. You know, as I said before, my channel would by no means become a project painting channel. I like to keep that to a minimum because I like to be able to play with and, you know, have usage out of my other products, not just the products in my project pan. I tend to use a project pan situation to move out things that are older in my collection in a more concentrated effort and that type of thing. Hopefully that makes sense, but I do really appreciate that you guys are encouraging me in that way. I think I will be close to a final decision, if not a final decision, by the 1st of December when my November no-buy is over. Let me think. I think maybe we're gonna go in with this deep green shade right here, which is called Enchanted, and put that even lower into the crease. So far so good with the November no-buy. I felt like I was a really good girl. I frequently just order my groceries from Walmart or another grocery store and have them delivered, and I did that on Friday night to have groceries delivered yesterday morning for the week and weeks ahead, and I had already put in my cart prior to Friday making my menu and, you know, making my shopping list and whatever. I had already put in a couple products in my shopping cart, which was a Milani Nourishing Lip Plumper and a Milani highlighter, I believe, which I definitely don't need, but I am just in the habit of doing that. Like when I hear people talk about a product or what have you, and I know that Walmart might sell it, then I go and just put it in my cart for the next time that I ordered groceries. And it was a little bit, it hurt a little bit to take those things out of the cart, but at the same time, I felt like that was a progress for me because I did take them out, and I didn't, you know, order those things, and I admitted to myself that I didn't even need those things. Like, I really don't. I would hate to even admit my numbers in those two categories. So it sounds probably like a little thing, but that was an accomplishment for me. The other thing I've been thinking about the last couple days in terms of my channel is I am seriously considering canceling BoxyCharm at the end of the year. I'm just gonna go in back with Pooter and blend that green out a little bit. I keep thinking, especially in the spirit of a possible year-long no-buy, next year, like, I have no judgment. If people want to do a no buy and continue to receive a subscription box, because I will definitely continue with Sephora Play. If people want to do that, fine. You write your own rules for your no buy. Nobody else does, but for me, I just can't, I don't think I can justify adding that much stuff to my already bursting at the seams inventory next year, whether I do a no buy or not. And so that's kind of where my brain is at. With Sephora, we generally only get 2 makeup products a month if we're lucky, and a lot of times it's something that you will end up using up in the month between boxes. So I don't feel as badly about that. Plus they are mini products, so they're easier to get through. Now I'm gonna go in with an even smaller brush. This is like a densely packed domed brush, and get a little bit more of that green and just concentrate it right there on that outer V just for a tiny bit more depth. And then we're gonna go in with the lid shades. I don't even know how to articulate it, to be honest. I think for the $20, yeah, it's an amazing deal if you end up liking all of the products, or even if you don't, like, even if you end up liking just a couple of the products, I think it's worth the $20. The question is, if I saw, let's say it's a palette, if I saw this palette out on the street, would I go for it? Would I pick it up? Or, you know, is it just nice to have something new in my collection? And that's why BoxyCharm excites me. And part of that, you know, in thinking about a no buy year, that's still the same kind of behavior that I will be hoping to disband, you know, like that always having to have something new or try something new. So that's just kind of where my brain is at. If I do go on a no buy next year, you know, it's going to be with the attitude of correcting some of my shopping behaviors. So I really like how this is, the crease is set up so far. I'm gonna go in with this very bright blue called Twerk. Rachel Stephanie, I will link her channel for you. She is panning this palette this year, working on panning it, and she has talked several times about when you layer up these pops of color in different ways, it makes, you know, it look different. And so what I'm gonna do today is put this blue down as a base and then layer this turquoise called Pool Party over top and see how it looks. Almost using this blue like a base. I'm not gonna spray my brush for this one to punch up the intensity or anything. I'm just really using it as a base to see how it looks when I layer the turquoise on top of it. Good grief. Going in with a little bit smaller brush, going into the shade that I said called Pool Party. These, you know, these 4 shades are like all the hoopla that was the launch of the Jaclyn Hill palette, and they are beautiful, but I definitely don't necessarily think that they are the stars of the palette or the only stars of the palette, because I actually really like the rest of the palette as well. And honestly, I reach for these colorful shadows less than I thought I would. I definitely think layering this turquoise over the blue has given it a unique look and effect. Now, honestly, don't think I'm going to spray my brush. I think that's good enough intensity for me. Whew, that is bright and gorgeous. All right, I feel like I need to go back in a little bit more with that green. I feel like it needs to meet up with the teal that I brought up a little into the crease. We're getting bold and smoky, I'll tell you that. If there's anything that this year will be if I end up panning this palette in 2019, it will be a smoky eye year. Which is not a bad thing. All right, I'm gonna take this flat definer brush and go back into the shade Enchanted, that dark green. Just connect that with the outer corner, and then we'll go there from there. But I think I'm gonna keep it kind of simple on the lower lash line. Can't decide if I should wrap the tear duct with the teal. I might do that. All right, I'm gonna take this pencil brush back into that turquoise Pull Party and just, like I said, wrap it around the tear duct a little bit. I think I have a new liner today that I should use, maybe. Well, I have two new liners and I haven't really used either one of them, so one of them is gonna get used in this look. All right, now to blend out the green on the bottom, I'm gonna go back into Pooter and just kind of soften the green a little bit. Alrighty. Oh no, we forgot an inner corner highlight. Let us use, I think I'm gonna go in with this one. Whoa, this one called In Light. And use that same brush I used with the turquoise. I just wiped it off a little bit. I think my one gripe with this palette so far is I wish there was a shade in here that I could use for a matte brow bone highlight. Now, this is not actually a problem because I have plenty of matte shades that I could use for a brow bone highlight in my collection, but I've been challenging myself this week to use just the Jaclyn Hill palette. So that's kind of why I mention it. If that's all you have, which it was one of the only palettes I had when I bought it, you know, that's kind of a bummer. So, pop off of here, do liner and lashes, and come back for a lip. Alrighty, we are back for lips. I'm gonna be a good girl today and use something from a project pan, but first we're gonna go in with the MAC lip liner in Whirl. To me, this is like almost a universal lip liner. It just works with so many lip products. Not my favorite formula of lip pencils. Oh my gosh, I have no idea what's going on back there. Not my favorite formula by any means. I wouldn't repurchase it, but I do love the color. And whoa.
Alert! We need a bobby pin.
Anyhow, going in with an old fave, and it's been in my project pan all year long, and I still have this much left. So this is Chocolate Fling from Avon. Used to be like my signature lip color, and I thought this would be nice because it is a warm kind of brown lipstick. Not too shabby. I feel like my face ate the blush. Anybody else? Let's zhuzh it up one more time. And I forgot to keep all my brushes out because I really want to wash them now that I've used them with such pigmented shenanigans. Doesn't look bad in real life, but on camera it probably looks a little washed out. All right, this is quite the look for a Sunday at home, but I really like how it turned out. I like the contrasting colors. Hopefully you enjoyed watching me put eyeshadow all over my face, and hopefully my little dental lisp has not been too annoying for you. But what do you guys think? Would you like to see more multitasking of products in the future? I thought this was a fun video for sure. I like how the look came out. This was day 6, so I will see you in day 7. And I hope all of your makeup days are beautiful, multitasking makeup days, and I will see you in my next video soon. Bye!